Hi, my name is Michael Tapes, and welcome to another edition of Tapes Talk. Today we'll be talking about handheld focus stacking. I'm doing this video because last week on Luminous Landscape, Kevin Raber posted the technique of focus stacking done in the studio, and that's normally how it's done. It's a very good article, explains the basics and how to get great focus stacking done. Well, just a week or two before, I had done my own focus stacking out in the field, handheld, and most people don't know that this can be done, so I spoke to Kevin and said, how about I show an example of handheld focus stacking? It was July 19th, and I was on a workshop to photograph swallowtail kites on a creek in central Florida. So I loaded up with my friends on the boat. It's a pontoon boat, 18 foot, and here's my equipment. I had 3 cameras and lens combinations. And I'm showing you this photograph, one, to give you context of where we were, but also when I shot the photographs I'm going to show you with the focus stacking, I was standing right just a little bit back further from where I am. So in the rear corner of the boat, and the dining needle, which is our subject, was right about where this lens hood is, so right about this area here. There's the dragonfly that we're going to photograph, and just let me explain the day. Swallowtail kites are somewhat rare birds, and in this location in central Florida on the creek, our guide Ron estimated that there were probably about 2,000 swallowtail kites in our area there. It's quite a scene, and they're quite a beautiful bird to watch. So here's just a couple of pictures from the shoot. I had just gotten my 400mm DO Canon lens. I was shooting that with the 2x teleconverter, and almost all of these shots are shot with that. A couple with the 600mm. You can check the EXIF up in the upper right-hand corner. So it's a beautiful bird. And at one point during the shoot, I noticed a dragonfly sitting right on the bench where I had shown you on the boat. So the dragonfly was right back in here. Now, the irony is that the swallowtail kites eat dragonflies, so this guy might have been, One of the things, I was shooting a 100 to 400 Canon zoom, and one of the great things about that lens is it is a very close minimum focus distance, so I was aware of that, and then I got into my mind, let me do a quick focus stack. Now, the key, of course, was speed, because this bug, this insect, was not going to sit there very long. And I took a series of shots with manual focus, and I was probably doing burst exposure. That's how normally I would do it. Just do a burst, which on this Canon 5 DSR is 5 frames per second, which is relatively slow. But the trick is you need to move the focus ring extremely small increments. I do this a fair amount, so I'm reasonably proficient at it. But you can see that, of course, I'm moving. We're on a boat, remember, and the dragonfly is also moving. So I'm just showing you, this is a burst, because you can see that the time is 0 seconds and 1 second. So all these shots were taken within 2 seconds. So let's zoom into 1-to-1. Okay, so here we see the focus, near field focus, even closer on the wings, closer, moving back, and now it's on the other side of the body and moving through. So it's a coarse process, a lot of movement going on, but Photoshop handles it really well. So let's zoom out. So I have all these selected in Lightroom. I'm going to right click and say edit in, but open as layers in Photoshop. So this will open Photoshop and bring those 9 pictures over to Photoshop. These are raw. And I have made adjustments in these images slightly, so they're all adjusted the same way, but they're not aligned, obviously. So Photoshop is opening. This takes a little while to load it up into the stack, so I'm going to zip ahead in the video. Remember, these are 5 DSR files, so these are very large 50 megapixel files, so it takes a while for Photoshop to load them up. So here we are with all the files loaded up as layers in Photoshop, and they actually see, if I turn the layers on one by one, you can see the movement. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is select all the layers, and then go to Edit, Auto Align Layers. Okay, leave auto on, and now what it's going to do is align all the dragonflies. So this would be the equivalent of when Kevin locked down the camera so that there'd be no movement. Now, of course, the dragonfly wings are moving and so forth, so it's going to be up to Photoshop to see if it can mask well enough that there aren't anomalies with the movement that's going on. So now we've got these aligned. I'm going to zoom in just to show you how well the alignment came in. I'm assuming it came in perfectly. So I'm just going to kill all the layers and then bring them in one by one, adding them one on top of the other. And you can really see the difference in focus positions now. Okay, and now we're ready to do our blend. So we go to Edit, Auto Blend Layers, Seamless Tones and Colors. That's worked well for me. I don't know what happens if I don't do it. And Content Aware Fill. Transparent means if it has to move images at the edges, it'll just fill in using Content Aware technology, so the edges won't be wacky and have transparency in them. Now, we could have done a crop to make these processes happen faster, but I can tell you by having done this once or twice in the course of making this video, it's a lot faster to do the crop, get rid of the excess pixels, and have it do this based on a cropped image than the full image. So let me add that as, I think, a better technique. And Photoshop is done. So looking good. This is zoomed in at 67%. Let's go into 100%. Looking fine. Let's zip around a little bit. Okay, couldn't get anything super sharp on the tail there, but we see that we have an extended range from the back way to this front wingtip. And of course, all that's dependent on how I racked the focus when I took the actual shots. You know, very fast on the boat, remember. So Photoshop puts a merged layer on the top. So if I kill all these layers, you see that there's a layer on the top that contains all of them. And if we just look at the image, if we kind of build it up, you can see how Photoshop does the layer masking, layer by layer. And then, of course, the merge shot. What I would tend to do now is save it as a ping, save as, PNG. It's going to be in the same folder as the raw from the swallowtail kites. We see it saving in the bottom left here. So the image is saved in Photoshop. Because I exported it as a ping, it won't automatically import into Lightroom, but I can go into the Lightroom and just go to the folder and say synchronize file folder. It finds the one image that wasn't there before, goes to the import panel, and we import that image. And there we have it. Handheld focus stacking. You can see the focus extends from the front tip all the way back to here. Obviously, had I done my job photographing better, I could have had the entire wing in focus as well. Michael Tapes for Tapes Talk. Hope you enjoyed this, and see you next time.